The other's muscular frame was inhuman, more like some kind of gorilla than a man. Its hands, which were easily each the size of a man's head, seemed to taper to short, jagged, claw-like tips. This was no man. It had to be some kind of animal. It came down on his abdomen with a heavy, booted foot. The first blow knocked the wind from him again. The second forced his stomach to empty its contents in a throat-burning jet. The third and fourth first broke his ribs, and then splintered them. Steve rolled himself away from his attacker with every ounce of strength that he possessed. Still, the huge thing continued to kick him in the back and shoulders. Steve scrambled, searching for something, anything to defend himself with. Then he saw the forgotten screwdriver, lying a foot away. He made a lunge for it. His fingers closed on it as the heavy booted foot made contact with his tailbone. Blinding pain shot up his spine as his coccyx bone split wide, but he managed to keep his grip on the screwdriver. He swiped backward with the makeshift weapon, but the angle was too weak, and he met only air. The force rocked him backward where he fell against the thing's leg. He wrapped an arm around it to steady himself and guarantee a target. He would not miss a second time. Again, calling up an astounding amount of will, Steve threw everything he had into the attack and drove the head of the screwdriver several inches into the monster's shin. The creature groaned painfully, but did not falter. In the next instant, Steve felt himself being pulled roughly to his feet. There was a jarring blow as the creature struck again, this time hitting him just below the shoulder blade. Something felt wrong. There was a numbing coldness in his back, and he could not draw breath. Steve stumbled forward, his hands coming to rest on the window pane before him. He tried with all his effort to inhale, but something was restricting his breathing, weighing heavily on his chest. Finally, he was able to draw a small, gasping amount of air, but his lungs went into spasms in response and pumped outward in a shuddering cough. Blood shot from his open mouth in a high-pressured jet, painting the window red. He realized with horror that the creature must have punctured his lung. He was going to drown in his own blood. He was going to die. One clawed hand grasped the side of his head, palming it easily. Then a sharp pain tore into the side of his neck as the other hand drove something sharp into his exposed flesh, just below his jawbone and behind his ear. The screwdriver. He could actually feel the flat metal blade in the back of his throat, pinning his tongue. Strange black flowers were blooming now in front of his eyes, obscuring his vision. A funeral bouquet. Steve's thoughts went to Sarah. He would never see her beautiful face again, never smell her perfume. His world was full of pain, but it hardly seemed to matter. It was far away and distant. Then he was being lifted, hoisted into the air like a child by the creature that was killing him. He collided with the window, shattering it and tumbling into the open air. The last thing Steve Murray saw before he died was the snow-covered ground rushing up to meet him. With the first stroke of luck he'd had all day, he struck the ground head first, snapping his neck like a twig, and his suffering was over. You've been listening to Ambuscade, Book 1 of The Pain Chaser, written and performed by Patrick E. Malloy. If you like what you've heard, you can buy your own copy of the book at www.patrickemalloy.com. That's Patrick, the letter E, M-O-L-L-O-Y. All music for this production was written and performed by Raymond Jelly. And I'd also like to personally thank fellow writer-podcaster Nathan Lowell for all his help in getting this production started. Until next time.